Well, Governor Blackface's gun control measures will make Virginia's laws a lot more like those of its northern neighbor, the state of Maryland. Now, here's an interesting stat for those of you keeping track who care. In Virginia, right now, the murder rate is 5.4 per 100,000. In the state of Maryland, which has stricter gun control laws, it's nearly twice that. It's 10.2 per 100,000. So you do the math. Colion Noir is a Second Amendment advocate and a frequent guest on the show. We're happy to see him. Colion, thanks so much for coming on. Quick to the politics of it. Here you have a governor caught wearing blackface or a Klan robe, he hasn't told us which, and he immediately shifts into gun-grabbing mode. And you've got to kind of wonder, maybe this is a diversion? Or am I cynical?
No, you're not cynical at all. It actually happens pretty consistently. Anytime, when it comes to these politicians who are anti-gun, when it comes to talking about issues that they're either not doing that well on or things that they just don't want to address, they always pivot to gun control because they see it as one of the easiest things to talk about because they like to frame it under the guise of all of these crazy gun owners out here, we've got to get the guns off of the streets. The irony is, when they talk about gun control, where do you think they're going to implement these laws the most? They're going to implement them in the minority cities. So they like to bring up the idea and the issue of race and how all of these white supremacist gun owners are going to come and start shooting people. Yet the people most affected by these gun control laws are the very people that they're trying to manipulate to not exercise their rights.
Huh. That's interesting. Can you think of another case where an explicit assault on an explicit constitutional right, on a point in number 2 in the Bill of Rights, where that would be described as terror, protest against it would be described as terrorism? I mean, why aren't these people being lionized as heroes for defending the Bill of Rights?
You would think that would be the case, but for some reasons, and I've been doing this for almost 15 years now, being a 2A advocate, you'd think that it'd be celebrated, but for some reason, out of all the constitutional rights that we have, the most important one is the one that's most vilified in this country, and it's baffling to me.
It is baffling, especially since this law, this specific suite of laws in Virginia, seems aimed at rural gun owners, where the crime rate is like effectively zero, violent crime rate. So there's not actually a threat to be stopped. It almost seems like these laws are a provocation. In fact, they are clearly a provocation aimed at people who don't vote Democrat.
No, absolutely. I guarantee you, they would have considered it a home run if at this rally today that some type of violence of some sort broke out. I guarantee you. Because
so what should we think of that? If our leaders in the State House in Virginia, on television in New York, LA, and Washington, if they're in effect pushing violent confrontation on the country, like, what should we conclude from that?
Well, we conclude that these gun control laws, all of these measures have nothing to do with actual safety. This has nothing to do with saving lives. It is about accumulation of power and control. That's all this is about. And it's always been that way.
So we did a couple of years ago a segment on MS-13 in Virginia, which is actually fairly powerful in Virginia. That's not an opinion. Law enforcement has all the stats on it. And we were denounced as bigots for pointing out that there is a gang that kills Salvadoran immigrants in Virginia. So, like, if you really cared about public safety, wouldn't you be upset about MS-13?
Yeah, you absolutely would, if that was the case, that you were actually worried about saving lives, but you don't. The whole point is to create an environment of chaos so that we're forced to depend on them completely and wholly for our safety. When you're a firearm owner, you don't. Yeah.
No, finish that sentence, please.
Okay. When you own a firearm and you're a citizen that owns a firearm, you don't completely and wholly depend on the government for your own safety. You've now empowered yourself and taken your safety into your own hands. Well, if I'm part of a party or in the government that wants to accumulate more power, I have to somehow find a way to take away that power from you so you're forced to depend on me more, because if I don't, then I lose power.
Right. Kind of like if you take men out of the home, people become more dependent on government. Kind of like that. Kind of works that way. Yeah, okay.
Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and click the bell and subscribe button. Let my voice be your voice, and let them know you want to keep America tactical, because the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed wasn't a suggestion, it was a directive. Also, if you're wondering where to purchase your state-specific Keep America Tactical shirt, click the link under the Keep America Tactical in the description section of this video.